John, I wouldn't exactly call this an emergency pod. Can we call it an urgency pod? There's a Subway Series this weekend in the Bronx, 3 games. And John, I think it comes at a great time. Both teams are in first place. Both teams are playing relatively well. And I think that there's kind of a clash of styles a little bit. Nobody's better at run prevention than the Mets this season. Nobody's averaging more runs per game than the Yankees. We'll see how that does. And yet there's an overriding story, one that will be part of the next 15 years of our lives, probably, but certainly this mid-May weekend in the Bronx. Juan Soto will be going out to right field. I assume the bleacher creatures will not treat him well there or each time he comes to the plate. And John, can you forgive me? Can I make an overriding statement on what I think about this? I actually think this worked out perfect. I think he fits better with the Mets and that the Yankees did well. Like if Hal Steinbrenner was going to keep his payroll where it is, the Yankees would not be as good with Soto because they would have had to do lesser things around him. And I think they pivoted well. Where the Mets owner showed by simply signing Pete Alonso and adding like what is that, $63 million in total cost, 30 million, and then another 33 or so in tax. He's willing to do things that Hal Steinbrenner isn't. So he could have Soto and eat his cake too, or at least get Pete Alonso. And to me, I know he's going to get booed. It's just the way it is. But I would argue this worked out right, especially if you care about baseball in New York and you think he was going to end up in one of those two places.
Yeah, I mean, both teams look great right now. In first place, as you mentioned, the Yankees have the best offense. The Mets have the best defense or pitching anyway. Um, it's really incredible. I mean, this is not what we expected. Certainly with the loss of Soto, with Stanton out, did anyone think the Yankees would have by far the best offense, averaging 5.8 runs per game, OPS 828, number one in baseball in both categories? Mets, on the other hand, did anyone see them having the best pitching? I mean, you don't want to say they cheaped out on the pitching. They spent a ton of money on the offense, but they have this strategy to go for quote unquote lesser pitchers or at least cheaper pitchers, cost efficient pitchers, and it's paying off. It's amazing that Griffin Canning is one of the best pitchers in the National League. Senga's been incredible. I know he says he's been lucky. Good for him for saying that, but maybe a little bit. But he's been great. McGill, Peterson, the whole lot of them. Holmes as well. That's worked out well for the Mets moving across town. Nobody's talking about Holmes moving across town. Of course, you're right. The story is Soto in the new environment and back in the Bronx now. And you are correct. He will not be well received. And I did talk to Soto a couple of days ago, and he's with you. He says it's going to be 50,000 against one. It's an estimate. I don't know he doesn't know, and I don't know the exact uh, uh, capacity at Yankee Stadium now, but it's about 50,000 to one. I mean, he said it matter of factly. He understands it. He's been on 4 different teams now. That's unusual for a great player. He's been booed plenty of times. He expects the worst in terms of the booing, and he gets it. And he says he just deal with it. He's going to do my stuff. Is that what he said? So, he's prepared, and I think we're all prepared for quite an avalanche of boos at Yankee Stadium Friday.
Yeah, I'm sure a couple of Met fans will sneak in. It won't be exactly 50,000 to one, but it will feel like 50,000 to one for sure. Uh, and John, I just want to go back. I wonder if you agree. It's interesting that Soto's legacy is teams wanted to keep him, found out they financially couldn't keep him, and they all have done well, right? The Nationals, the top 3 guys on the Nationals in WAR right now, all came in the trade from San Diego, and James Wood looks like he might be a star. Right, Mackenzie Gore is very good. C.J. Abrams and a couple of prospects still to come. Padres got Michael King out of it. They got Drew Thorpe, who helped them get Dylan Cease. Randy Vasquez is pitching in the back of their rotation, helping them survive Darvish. And I would say, like if the Yankees had Soto but didn't have Fried this year, considering that Cole went down, Hill went down, Schmidt, then Stroman went down, I just don't think they'd be as good. And the other stuff has generally worked. Now, I assume around Soto, John, we still would have seen this growth from Wells and Volpe and Rice and Dominguez and whatever's happening with Trent Grisham, the other part of the Soto trade, who's actually to some degree outperforming Soto offensively a quarter of the way through the season, which is amazing. But I actually think the Yankees are better short and long term. And that's hard to say because Soto's like the best hitter I've ever seen who's not named Aaron Judge.
Yeah, the Yankees pivoted very well. Give them credit. Goldschmidt looks fantastic. He looks better than the second half Goldschmidt, and nothing like that first half Goldschmidt, where some scouts were suggesting maybe he's done. He's not done. Nobody works harder, as you recall, being a hard worker yourself. Goldschmidt was the first guy every day in camp and spring training, and that was a great move. And Fried has been incredible. If he's not the Cy Young winner, he's second to Skubal, but he's certainly in the top two. Just a great move. They obviously did it different ways. The Mets, spent on the cheap, so to speak, for their pitching. They don't believe in the long-term deals for the 30-something pitchers. Yankees, obviously, the opposite. Cole paid off. Fried paid off. The teams have made a lot of good decisions. And I want to pay homage a little bit to San Diego because they do a great job. I mean, to get what they got for 1 year of Soto. Now, remember, they got 2.5 years of Soto when they gave up all those players. And obviously, Washington did well getting Gore and Wood and Susanna and Abrams. They did well, but San Diego was smart enough to hold on to the best of them all, which is Jackson Merrill. Didn't trade him. And that trade they made with, with the Yankees, obviously, Yankees can't regret it, getting Soto, getting him to the World Series. But to end up with Michael King, who's now an ace pitcher for 2 years, and they hope to keep him, and to turn Thorpe somehow into Dylan Cease, I mean, two top of the rotation starters for a rental. You can't do much better than that.
No, and look, they're getting something out of Vasquez, and they got a lot out of Kyle Higashioka last year. Helped them. I mean, let's not forget the Padres played better against the Dodgers in the postseason than anybody else, including the Yankees in the World Series. The Padres came the closest to beating the Dodgers on the way to Los Angeles, winning the World Series. And John, just to put a finer point on something, is the Mets kind of went cheap on pitching, but like they still did
Yeah.
spend over $100 million on pitching. We just haven't seen Sean Manaea and Frankie Montas yet.
Right.
We've only seen Holmes and Canning, which again is pat on the back to them. They created a depth that the Yankees don't have right now, though Will Warren has looked a lot better these last two starts. They keep ebbing a little closer to Luis Heel. Clark Schmidt looks like he's on it. It feels like the rotation is stabilized. They've gotten this kind of Aaron Small, Cody Petit thing out of Ryan Yarbrough out of no place where he's pitched real well for them and a chance to do this. I think it's what good teams do. They figure out a way here. John, I just wonder as we go into this series, the other thing that stood out to me is, and it's because I do think this is the series of Soto, right? Like it's going to be hard to ignore maybe for 15 whole years, but certainly the first time they're together, especially in the Bronx, where the first time somebody spurned the Yankees to go to the Mets. Like that had never happened in history. Is both teams' top three in the lineup have really are really good. Now the Yankees do it with a changing cast around Judge, and Judge is the obvious star, but Grissom and Rice, to your point, Goldschmidt, Bellinger, like they're tied with the Dodgers for most homers out of the top three spots. They have the number one OPS. Mets are top five in both of those things. Again, Alonso is a guy, the Yankees, how many teams would do what Steve Cohen did? Which is like, oh, we have our payroll, we have our team, we have our team. I'm going to add $63 million this year. It really, Soto is in the right place. If you've got to navigate around 50 million plus on one player for the next 15 years, he's in the right place.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else would have done what Steve Cohen did. I mean, I think the fans at the Fan Fest spoke, booing the idea of the young players coming in, and I do think that the meeting in Tampa paid off for Alonso. I think Alonso was getting somewhere around 22 to 24 million before that meeting. Bumped it up to 30. That was the key. And bumping it up to 30, it's not so easy. Bump up 6 to 8 million, you're really bumping it up 13 to 16 million because of the tax. And I did the math quickly. I don't think that was exactly right, but that that's a big expenditure, even for Pete Alonso. And Alonso's been great. The Mets top three is amazing. You'd think it's the best, but of course, the Dodgers set the standard with three Hall of Famers at the top of their lineup. But Yankees top three is doing great too. I mean, a little more concern about whether the track records aren't there for Rice or Grisham. They are certainly for Goldschmidt, and I mean, Judge is the best player in the game at this point. So obviously for him, and he'll make up for other many other deficiencies by himself. But that Met top three with Lindor. Hitting very well with Soto, and everybody's killing him. I think his OPS plus is like 144 or something like that, so not too bad. And he's obviously not playing up to that standard that he's never going to be able to play up to. And Alonso's been great. I mean, he is an NL MVP candidate at this point, so that was a necessary signing. And you're right. I probably shouldn't have said they went on the cheap. They went short term. That's kind of
Yeah.
the MO for David Stearns to go short term, and he did that with Montas and with Minaya as well. We haven't seen them yet. They hope to get them back sometime in June. But at this point, incredibly enough, the Mets have the best rotation ERA. They have the best overall ERA. They have the second most strikeouts, tied with the Yankees to the Phillies. I mean, the story of their season beyond Pete so far is that pitching staff. And Jeremy Hefner, friend of the show, as we always mention it, has done an amazing job as the pitching lab. It's really amazing. Nobody saw this coming. We thought the Mets' weakness was their rotation. They lose Minaya, they lose Montas, and right now they have the best rotation in the game. Better than Philly, better than the Dodgers, better than the Yankees, the best.
Yeah, it's a credit to David Stearns and the structure that's been built there,
Right.
because he's very big on depth, and without depth, losing those two starters in spring training would have been really problematic. And instead, Canning has thrown terrific. McGill, instead of going to the minor leagues, has thrown terrific. They have five guys going round and round, and they have two promising guys coming at some point. John, I'm wondering, as a way to maybe kind of like wrap up a preview on this, is we are about a quarter of the way, just beyond the quarter mark of the season. Uh, let's play a little bit of, can we do what worries you about the New York teams? Can like if I started threw it out, Mets, is there an issue or two that you're watching? Because over the next quarter, we
Yeah.
kind of get to the trade deadline. And so we're kind of like got half of that done. What's caught your eyes and said, I got my eye on that because if they don't fix it, or internal or external, could be an issue.
I think this is easier with the Yankees, believe it or not, than the Mets. They seem to be a very, very solid team at this point, right? Normally, you're looking at rotation when you're going to the deadline, and their rotation's been the best, and they have two good pitchers. Minaya was their ace for much of last year, coming back in June. So there isn't an obvious answer. I've been worried about Diaz. Now, he has been very good over the last few weeks, and maybe I shouldn't even be worried about him. But I would say Diaz, and it would be nice to have a lefty reliever. But look, the Houston Astros won a World Series without a lefty reliever. The Mets nearly got to the World Series last year with Danny Young as their only lefty reliever. They do have Brooks Raley coming, hopefully back. He's in the fold. But I mean, those are very, very minor issues with the Mets. I really don't see a lot. With the Yankees, it's easier. I
Well,
mean, obviously.
hold on with the Yankees. Let me kind of jump in on the Mets, and then we'll do the Yankees together as well. Uh, I think that for me, you hit the combo. I'm a little worried about Diaz, and it wasn't just that Minter is left-handed. I thought Minter was a security blanket on Diaz. I thought Minter's stuff, both right stuff internally and pitching stuff, was good enough to get the outs in the ninth inning if Diaz stumbled. And the lefty thing, I get it. You don't necessarily need one, but suddenly, if you're thinking about who they have to go through, Harper, Schwarber, Otani, Freeman, like whatever that is, you'd love to have a guy who you could unleash at least one, if not two. Now, does Rayleigh turn out to be one? Maybe, but I still think they're going to have to find that in the next month and a half to whatever period we're in here.
Yeah,
It's
that's
it's
going to
not
be
a
hard.
killer.
That's going to
It's
be
not, it's
difficult.
very
I
difficult.
mean, I don't see one. I mean, I've looked up and down these rosters, and the
I do
terrible
also,
teams
John.
are so terrible. They don't even have decent starters, much less lefty relievers. That is really a weakness in the game. And, give the Yankees credit for bringing Tim Hill back at 2 point something million. I mean, he's not their best reliever, but he's a viable lefty. The Padres have, I think, three of them. They didn't look so great against the Yankees recently, but uh, they have three of them. There just aren't there aren't lefties in the game. It's possible they can do without them. So the Mets are in good shape, I think, overall.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about lefty reliever, uh,
Yeah,
it means that you did a really good job of creating depth. And by the way, the Mets are showing the value of patience. They got it out of Vientos last year. Maybe they're getting it out of Beatty now. Like if you have talented players, not to give up on them. We had Scott Harris earlier in the week. We're seeing this amazing re-rise of Javier Baez. I know in the internet age we want to like get rid of him, but there is kind of re-rise, including Trent Grisham with the Yankees this year. Let's go to the Yankees,
Yeah,
John.
let me ask you one thing. What did you think that David Stearns was talking about with the defense? Because I'd heard that, a week earlier they were concerned about the defense, and then I went and asked a couple people, and they didn't really understand why Mets front office was concerned about the defense. Should be good. I mean, maybe Alvarez is a slight drop off from Torrens, but not a big one. He's been good. Up the middle, they're excellent. Taylor is excellent. Acuna is very good. Lindor is one of the best defensive players in the game. Their defense metrics are in the middle of the pack. I mean, Lindor hasn't been as great as he normally is, maybe. Obviously Vientos is a little below average. I don't know. What do you make of their concern about? Are they just concerned about the defense because they have nothing else to be concerned about, or is there really something there?
It's a great question, John. I think that defense is a walk the walk for Stearns. I think he obsesses on it. I think he obsesses on that combo of run prevention. And there are places, the corner infield, and the corner outfield. Like Nimmo doesn't move, like he's robbed a couple of homers, but he does not move like the quick twitch athlete he used to be. He's had some lower leg issues. He's
Yeah,
a little older. Soto, we know, like playing in the bigger outfield at City Field, you do see that he's not much of an outfielder. Like he really got covered up at Yankee Stadium a little bit. So it's like corner outfield, corner infield. It's not what Stearns wants, but like I just don't know how would you even get out of it. Like you're into
no.
Demo forever, you're into Soto forever, you're certainly into Alonso for this year, and whoever you put at third base, Beatty or Vientos, they're good, look like good young, inexpensive players. And go. By the way, the Yankees need a third baseman. Go. I do that. I'm sure we're both the same. I'm running my finger down for lefty relievers. Where are they for the Mets? I'm running my finger down for third baseman for the Yankees. These things are not easy to find. And so, like, why
No.
don't we turn there, John? Yankees a quarter of the way into season. Again, we're kind of nitpicking a little. These are two of the better teams in the sport. It's why this weekend's going to be so interesting and exciting. But setting it up over the next quarter, what are you looking at with the Yankees?
Well, first of all, can Grisham and Rice keep it up? I suspect that Rice might be able to. Really, he hasn't had a long history. He missed 2 years. Had the COVID years at Harvard. They didn't play for 2 years with COVID. I think he's now showing what he can do. So I'm kind of a believer there. Grisham's been in the round for a while. We haven't seen this from him. We saw snippets earlier when he was with Milwaukee a little bit. I mean, that would be my number one thing. Can they keep that going? Because I think they can piece it together on the infield. Certainly, Cabrera. I know he's not, an all-star at third base, but he's an outstanding utility man and a good defender. I mean, they need help in the infield somewhere. I mean, LeMahieu's back. They have Peraza. Chisholm will be back. So I would say they need to get an infielder. And, like everybody else, except maybe the Mets, they'll be looking at rotation. We'll see how Heel comes back. That's big, obviously. See if Warren can continue. He's had two good starts, as you mentioned. There are a lot of little things you can point to. Nothing really major. I don't even think the rotation is major at this point because Rodon is what they expected at this point. He's been a little unlucky with his numbers, as Senga says he's been lucky, but he's been really good. Freed's been the best in the game, and Warren looks better. They'll have Heel back. It's not we're nitpicking on both teams, but I would say there's a little more obvious questions with the Yankees.
Yeah, I think there's some depth issues all around with the Yankees that don't quite exist with the Mets, especially rotation. I think they're going to need to get a starter at minimum at the deadline because, you just, even if Warren continues to do this, there's a lot of flammability, injury history with guys like Schmidt now, Heel. Like, you're going to need another veteran starter, and you'll be like, okay, if we got to put Warren in AAA, at least he's proven depth, and let's see him continue to do it. Think they have to do that. I think even if Grisham doesn't come all, like, look, he's not going to do this year. Like, he's probably going to revert to who he's always been at some point. He's certainly not going to outperform Juan Soto over 162 games. They should get Stanton back. And so Stanton becomes the DH, in which case, like, Grisham can become a bench player if he starts to revert, maybe a more regularly used player. I actually think the concern there is their offense has, John, I think you framed it well earlier when you mentioned they were averaging 5.8 runs a game. I think it's just hitting on every cylinder. And as great as Judge is, like, I have to assume that's coming down to something. He's not actually going to hit 420, is he? I mean, I guess maybe we should. I never thought I'd see 62 homers, so maybe they would have cleaned a player, but like, maybe it's possible. But like, any regression by him to just being a 300 hitter impacts the whole offense. And I just don't see a lot of places like Goldschmidt isn't going to keep this up. Rice isn't going to keep this up. Like, where do they? Grisham isn't going to keep it up. Like, they've maximized offense for about 45 games. Plus, they need a starter. Plus, I do think they need an infielder. So they're going to have to be busy. But I think Brian Cashman in this front office, John, has always shown when they're in it, they'll go for it.
Yeah, I think they will. They're a little concerned where their payroll is around 300 million. So they're right around that 110% tax. So maybe not bring in like an Arenado for 20 million a year, but I think they'll improve in the rotation. They'll bring in a less expensive infielder likely, unless Peraza really shows something. They're in good shape. That bullpen is pretty good. Devin Williams has been better. Weaver has been really good, and the other guys. I mean, Cruz looked terrible in spring training. He's been great except for one outing since the season started. Leiter has been really good. They're going to get Loizaga back, who may be the most talented of all of them. So they're in good shape in that, and they're in better shape in the rotation than I thought. I mean, we saw the spring from hell, and we were thinking this might not be such a great team that people thought, and they look pretty good. They're also in the American League, which is a better spot than the Mets.
No doubt about it. And look, we always rave, oh, how talented the AL East is. There's not another team over 500 besides the Yankees in the AL East, and that's been going on a while. Like
I
they're
think Boston's going to be good, though.
so do
I still
I.
believe it. I still think
So do
so.
I.
Baltimore, wow. I mean, what the heck is going on
That's
there?
11 under they are now, right?
I
11 to
don't know.
12
Did we
under.
jinx Mike Elias? I don't know. I think if so, I don't think so because Scott Harris's team's doing pretty good still. But boy, the Orioles, what a mess! Nobody could have seen them 10 or 11 games under 500. So many pitching injuries. I get it, but they look lifeless. Toronto underperforming as they do annually. Boston's the one team that to me I think is a threat. I think they'll get better. They'll call up Roman Anthony, and Meyer. I think they'll be good. They have a good manager, but that AL East ain't what it was cracked up to be. That NL West is the best. The AL Central is even better than the AL East. I believe that that's true, not just based on the record. I think it's better. Detroit and Kansas City are really good teams, and Cleveland somehow finds a way. I'm not sure how they do it, but they're tied with the second best record with the Yankees right now in the American League.
Yeah, John, I do think that the Yankees are in the right division and the right league as they are trying to, like they've been a good organization, figure it out as they go along and solve things. I think they've gotten more help from their farm system than in any time in the last like quarter century at least, right? I mean, even Will Warren, besides all the offensive guys who are bringing them something, Will Warren has brought them. John, I don't even know the answer to this question as we wrap up. How many games are you going to this weekend? Are you
Two.
two? Okay. Well, I'll certainly see you two because I'm down for all three. And you know that's a thing for me because you know I would definitely want to watch the Knick game tomorrow night and possibly on Sunday night. And I'm going to be at the ballpark.
Okay, I'll trade with you. No, just kidding.
No.
I know you really are a fan. I mean, they got to win Game 6, right? I mean, I know nothing. I'm watching the games, but they can't possibly blow this now without Tatum. And I mean, give them credit.
Is
I shouldn't say
blowing
blow
three
it.
is blowing 3-1 when the other team's best player goes down worse than blowing 3-0 in 2004 to Boston?
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
Uh, Just
I
see
mean,
if we could cross
isn't
over.
Jason Tatum a big loss? I'm not the expert you are, though. So that question is really meant
Yeah,
for you. That's your own question.
yeah. I mean, he's one of the eight best players in the league. He's probably going to finish fourth or fifth in MVP this year. He was the best player on a championship team last year. Like
There you
he's
go.
and
That's a
and
bit
he
I
almost
think you answered your
single-handedly.
question.
Yeah,
This
he
is
was.
worse. This is worse than the Yankee. Although
Is
I
Schilling?
heard that it was how many times out of 280 times that it's been 3-1 that I think 10 times, and I shouldn't make up quotes here, but it's like 5% of the time
Yeah,
it's,
it's happened.
it's happened before.
It's
It's a little
happened
bit
more
less
than
than,
once or twice.
yeah, a
Yeah.
little bit less than 5% of the time
Because
it happens. So
you can see how the pressure would, now everything is on a game six, right? Because it's the home game, the other team stars out. If suddenly you blow that, and by the way, we were off doing basketball then. Boston had a very good record this year when Tatum didn't play. They still have a lot of great players, but the problem is one of them is usually Porzingis, and he's been zero in this series. So it's almost like they're down two of the key guys who helped them win the championship last year. And so that would be if they don't win, John, we're gonna deal with a little while longer where nobody cares about baseball and everybody's trying to figure out which Knicks to trade who aren't named Jalen Brunson. That's gonna be
no, everybody. New York is still a baseball town. You are a baseball and
I think
basketball
that
both, but
I think this is I mean, again, like I love how much everybody cares about baseball. It keeps us employed, right? I still think because every kid plays basketball in this town that it's a basketball town.
it's oh really okay. It's I don't know. We'll have to get the we'll
It
have to
feels
ask
different
Shaw.
in
We'll
spring
get
when
to
the Knicks
Shaw
are
and
good.
Hale and ask them what the numbers say.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think the Yankees are number one, but maybe it's because I'm a baseball guy. I mean, at least in popularity, and baseball's number
They're
one
all going to
with
lose that
Chelsea. But the Knicks better. I'm no expert, but they're getting a home game. That's a
Here's
big
the
deal.
crossover, John. As you know, it's not the Knicks. I watch all the games. Alex Rodriguez's team got to the conference finals last night. Minnesota won. So like
Maybe
here's the
we can get him
crossover.
on again. We'll have to get him on and talk some basketball.
All right. Well, I'll reach out. I'll see if he'd like to join us.
Okay, you do that.
All right. John, I'll see you at the ballpark tomorrow night, or are you
I
Saturday
will
and
be there. Yep.
tomorrow night, and I'll probably be the guy sneaking back to watch some of the Nick game while it's going on. Anyway, I'm glad we got to do this urgency podcast. We always appreciate Tommy Hogan, our producer, who jumped on and helped us with the urgency podcast. Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, please rate and review us. Go to the New York Post Sports YouTube page, give us a view, and we'll be back early next week with the show with Joel Sherman and Jon Heyman.